Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle, Season 10, Episode 10, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me, I have a man who's at an age where his body can predict the weather. It's Mike, the McDonough. And in the red corner, it's our cuddly killer, a man who hates growing a beard and putting on 3 stone for a role and then remembers he's not an actor. It's Mark, superhero Leonard. This week we'll be discussing some movies in the shape of, or a movie in the shape of Hail Ceasar, and some TV in the form of Stag and Hap and Leonard. Of course, we'll have some of the usuals with the news, and some previews, and coming to Bicycle near you. Just first up, I'd like to mention our new sister podcast, Indie Shorts, which started this week. It'll be mainly focused on indie movies and shorts, funnily enough. Yeah, not short shorts, Mike. Mm-hmm. Short movies.
No.
Yeah.
But some of them could be short.
They could be. So this week we looked at Pass by Sean O'Connor. We looked at the Oscar-winning The Stutterer, or not The Stutterer, Stutterer. Mm-hmm. And Day 90 by Miriam Ditchfield. You can catch us on the Is It a Bicycle website at isitabicycle.com/indie shorts. We're at indie_shorts on Twitter. And have a search on Facebook. You'll find our page there as well. So how are we doing? Empty camp tonight.
It is.
It's fairly thin in the ground, all right.
Rocking this old school.
Feels great.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, of course, is now that I'm back, we can let 2 people go.
Yeah.
Given that I do the reviewing of 2 men / 1 man and 1 woman.
Well, I mean, I always said, like, we shouldn't have Sean and Sean on the podcast anyway. They're a fucking waste of space.
Now, Mike. Can't say that when we're not here.
Well, I think what we need to do actually is prove it by doing an epic podcast this week. So the show's over anyway.
Yeah.
I was on stage last week, Tuesday through Saturday, 2 shows on a Saturday. And anyone who's ever been on stage or been involved in something like that knows about post-show blues. It's like it's consumed your life for a month at least. And in the case of this show, we've been getting ready for 6 months. And then all of a sudden, there's nothing.
No attention.
It's like the silence is even quieter than usual.
Oh.
And you go from being on stage every night. And we had there wasn't a single seat left for our show last week. It was full out.
Wow.
Every night, full house.
Was there nothing on telly like her?
Well, I think that's our job to decide on that, Mike, right?
It was thin on the ground.
But it was so, and then Saturday night is always really sad because it's over. You know, the curtain call comes and all the rest of it, and it's just, that's it, and it goes by so fast. And it was made even more poignant this year because our director, Billy Patterson, of the band The Pattersons, for those of you familiar with the phenomenon that was the Pattersons.
Wow.
They were the Beatles of their geography, I suppose you would say. But they're, he's been on stage for 40 years, and you'd know, like...
Never been home.
He talked about retiring every year that I've been in the Musical Society. Every year was the whole, is Billy come back, is Billy come back? But he actually had a speech prepared. He spoke a bit like, so, like, I'd always be sad at Last Curtain Night, but the guy that was playing Jesus, we did Jesus Christ Superstar, for those of you not paying attention the last 6 months.
All right.
And Jesus came out, Kieran, an amazing singer, dancer, actor. Kieran Connor came out and he just kind of faced everybody and, like, said thanks to the rest of the cast that had been with him, you know, and he was crying already at this point. Then he bowed, and like that was like, I kind of welled up a bit at that because I was going, Jesus, is going to be tight going. Like, then Billy comes out and does his speech, and when he talks about how the Musical Society is his family, he kind of broke a bit. And I went, oh man, I can't hold this in.
Oh no, wait, did your mascara run?
Ran like fucking everywhere. So you have to picture the scene now, right? Because I'm big anyway, right? In most groups, I'm generally at the top end of the bigness scale. Yeah. But I have a 1-foot-tall hat on my head for the role I was playing. So I'm even bigger than usual. Yeah. So there's this, and because they brought the principals to the front to do an extra bow sort of thing, I'm now standing at the front of the crowd. So you have this giant man crying in makeup, but I can't disguise it, and I can't rub my face because that just makes it all worse. And then I'm here, well, at least they're fucking closing the curtain now. And I was like literally standing there going, just close the fucking curtain because I'm embarrassing myself enough. Yeah. And then they decided we're going to do the encore again.
Oh God.
Yeah. So anyway, we got through it. The depression is only starting to fade.
It sounds a lot like the end of Conan when he's facing down Tulsa Doom. and Tulsa Doom says, "I am the wellspring from which you flow," and because without the Jesus Christ superstar, like who are you?
That is very profound, Michael. Those are exactly the questions I was pondering.
Yes.
Did his makeup run?
Oh no, he cut off his head and fucked it down the side into the crowd.
No.
But he did think for a little minute, just
for
a little minute.
fraction of a second, the thought crossed his barbarian-like mind. Much as a similar thought crossed my mind at 4 a.m, where we were still in the bar, having finished our rap party, when I went, McGregor's fighting soon.
Wow.
So I said, I need to get my ass to a taxi and get home and get watching this stuff.
Yeah.
So I presume we've all seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have.
I think anyone who has any interest in it, I think, has seen it at this stage. Yeah, we're
sure,
safe. Yeah, no spoilers here, I think. Yeah.
So, did you explain to the taxi driver the urgency of your need to get home at 4 a.m?
Well, I have the UFC app on my phone.
Oh, do you? Oh, so you're able to watch
tells me what's going on.
Yeah.
So I got a notification that the main card had started. Right. So I gave myself a half an hour, which would be about a fight or two.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Before I started making arrangements. Got a taxi pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was home in time to watch all of Home and Tate.
Nice.
And the main event.
Brilliant.
And I've since caught up on the rest of the main card. Haven't seen the early prelims or prelims yet, but I have seen all the main card.
The early prelims are definitely worth a watch because it's Eric Silva versus Jim Miller. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
Mayhem?
Yeah, I know it. This is crazy. Like on the early prelims, I reckon it was just trying to get people in on purpose. So
they're trying to sell the early prelims as an event for free if you're a Fight Pass subscriber.
Yeah.
So it's a value add for Fight Pass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
geez, I hope I have that right now. Was it Eric
right.
Silva?
No. There's been a lot of talk in this podcast by people other than me about the shoddy boxing of people in MMA.
Right.
So, Mike, I would like to hear your review of the fight on Saturday night.
My review of the fight is very simple.
McGregor versus Diaz.
McGregor basically didn't take him seriously. He spent the whole fight, the whole 2 rounds, with his hands down John L. O'Sullivan style around his fucking waist, because he figured that Diaz wasn't fast enough to catch him. And lo and behold, after 10 minutes of trying, he did catch him. And it reminded me an awful lot of the Anderson Silva fight, when he totally disrespected, what was your man's name, the wrestler dude? And he was basically sticking his chin out, almost daring
TJ Dillashaw.
Dillashaw, that was the one. And eventually Dillashaw fucking caught him. And he was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And to my eyes...
Anderson Silva. Is that who you said?
It was Anderson Silva, wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't find TJ Dillashaw, though.
He got knocked out by him.
No.
Sorry, no. What am I thinking? Who am I thinking of?
Dude, he broke his leg on. that was the rematch because he got knocked.
Yeah,
Dillashaw is too small, right?
Yeah.
Who's the guy?
Sorry, just first correction because I got the name wrong. It wasn't Eric Silva. It was Sanchez. You know, feckin' Diego. Yeah, and Jim Miller. Sorry, not Eric Silva. Mm-hmm. Anderson, Jesus, what's his name? Sure, he went
See,
down.
if you look that up and Mike can keep going.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So, to my mind, it was a classic not taking your opponent seriously. Like, he assumed that he was so much better than Nate Diaz that he could just fuck around like an idiot. You know,
he fucking around though, Mike? Do you know when you try and hit someone as hard as you can, is that considered fucking around now?
Yes, it is. Because he knows better than to keep his hands on his fucking hips.
No, but he fights like that. Conor McGregor keeps his hands out wide like that, and he's always taunting at guys because he counters better than he attacks. Well, he used to. He's actually improved now.
But you see, he's doing that because he feels he can get away with it and it makes a better show. He knows in his heart.
Or he's doing it because that's the way he fights.
I think that's the way he fights, though, Mike. I don't think he was showboating.
When he was back boxing as a young lad, there was no fucking way he was doing it like that.
Well, that's because, but do you not think he's got more to think about in this?
Not really, no.
Well, he's got fucking legs.
But you can't fight in a boxing stance, like.
Yeah.
You can't fight in a boxing stance, but the basics of keeping your balance, like every left that he threw, he was almost going through the cage, like, and he knows better than that.
Because the range was a problem.
It was. I think actually the switch of the fight, like he was preparing for Dos Anjos, who is 5'8", and all of a sudden with 10 or 11 days, he has to get used to a guy that is 6 foot is Nate Diaz. So all his sparring partners would have been shorter guys. So I think the range definitely would have been a problem for him.
The range looked like the biggest problem to me, and I was watching the first round, which McGregor won, which isn't unusual for a Diaz fight because he starts so slow.
Yeah.
But all I was thinking watching that, I said, if he has to keep diving to try and land, he's in real trouble. Like, but
you could see he was wrecked at the start of round 2. Fairly early onto it. She said, "Oh my God, look at me slowing down."
Yeah,
I have a slight issue now with reviewing this fight because I've started to read Jack Sachs reviews.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And he is probably the smartest guy in MMA punditry that I've come across. And he did a microscopic review of the Diaz-McGregor fight. And everything he said, he backs up with tiny clips from the fight. So you can actually show you, this is what I mean.
Yeah. He was on Joe Rogan podcast, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So
he's brilliant.
Now my own opinion has been dissolved behind what I read from this guy.
Okay.
So I don't want to just repeat what he said.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember what I actually thought of at the time when I was watching it. So I immediately thought that was a problem. And when you are diving at guys, it's going to be an issue. I thought in the first round, neither of them fought that smart. I was speaking to a friend of mine during show week, actually, we were breaking down this fight, just the two of us. And he kept saying to me, he said, Diaz is just going to take him down because he's got the ground to beat him. And I kept saying, Diaz is an idiot. He's not going to do that. And then he mentioned what everyone's kind of aware of is that Diaz leaves his front leg stuck out with weight on it. And he was saying like McGregor should chop that down. I agreed with him, but I didn't think he was going to either. So I think they were both stupid. Like he could have been just hacking at that leg, hacking, not worrying about the head and taking him on the body. Anytime he went to the body, he actually did pretty well. But he wasn't happy with it. He wanted to headhunt. He couldn't understand why Diaz wasn't falling down.
Yeah, but he had also, what was it Conan O'Brien or one of those shows? He had set himself up, I'm going to do this spinning capoeira kick or whatever to finish him.
Capoeira, Mike.
Sorry. And like, it's as if he thought Nate Diaz mightn't have seen that and mightn't have prepared to deal with that. And he tried that kick for like 5 or 6 times. And didn't land.
He mentioned that himself, actually. That his range was all wrong. He mentioned that to Ariel, I think, in his post-fight interview. But I was watching that as well, and I was saying, oh man, he has to get the range right. And then he threw, because Diaz stands slightly sideways on, and he's because of the weight in the front leg and all the rest of it, spinning kicks into him. You've got a good, he's a lefty as well, so the liver is a bit exposed. A good back kick like that can do real damage, like. And McGregor landed one of those. And when he landed, I went, oh yeah, he's figured out the fucking kicking range. And the next thing he did was miss with a wheel kick. Now that for fuck's sake.
Another thing, actually, just on the whole not taking your guy seriously thing. He was landing shots, like he busted up Nate's face pretty badly. But he'd throw 1 or maybe 2 shots, and then he'd kind of stand back and sort of admire his handiwork. He wasn't pressing the advantage.
Do you not think that there are styles? Like, fighters have styles. It's not all calculated, like.
No, he was showboating, Mike said.
There's $10 million on the line.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be calculating.
On the line. He was getting paid anyway.
He did get paid anyway. I don't know the point I wanted to make there.
You're thinking of Chris Wiseman.
Is that the guy?
Chris Wiseman, yeah.
With the silver fight.
The one thing I wanted to mention is, you know the way they're talking about jumping up 2 weight categories?
Yeah.
He didn't jump up 2 weight categories.
Well, he went up 1 for Dos Años, and then another for Diaz.
Dos elbows.
No. He rang Diaz, and the conversation went like this. Nate, you bleeding Egypt.
Yeah.
Well, wait here. And he goes, I'm 170. He said, sound, I'll meet you there.
Right.
That's what happened. Like,
there was
Diaz
a lot of to and fro on,
he was supposed to be competing at.
Yeah. So probably not the wisest move, but on the other hand, Diaz only had like 11 days to prepare, so you got to balance the two out, you know.
Well, I think that was probably a lot to do with it. Like, but see,
he was
Diaz
prepping for
isn't a big cutter,
triathlon.
like.
He's prepping for a triathlon anyway.
Yeah.
So he's fit as feck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As they always are.
The Diaz brothers do triathlons
An
just for the
Ironman,
crack.
just for the crack, yeah.
No, the whole two-way category jump thing was pre-publicity in case McGregor lost, I think.
Yeah.
They could have done that at Dos Anjos' weight category at 155 because that's where Diaz fights.
Yeah.
They could have. Like, you talk to other fighters, like, they'll make the weight in 2 weeks. Why the fuck wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But they said, no, stay where we are. Sure, Amatai walking around at 168. No, it gave Diaz a weight advantage, for sure, because he probably did cut a little bit and he was bigger, whereas McGregor walked into the ring, I would say, at the 168 he weighed in at.
Yeah.
Probably lighter, if anything. But
I was just going to say, it's a fantastic result for the UFC. Like, this was a nothing fight, you know, just to fill in the blanks.
So was the co-main event, though.
Yeah.
Holly Holm and Miesha Tate. I mean, it's just, it's
now you've got rematches.
Well, now you've got rematches all over the place. Will Nate get a shot at the title next? You know?
Yeah.
Of course
He
should. Yeah, for sure. But then, who's he going to have? Whose title? Like, you know, is it Dos Elbows, or is he going to hang on for Conor for UFC 200, or is that off now? Or
was it you who was telling me Nate's last fight was 20 grand, and then he got $1 million for this?
Something like that. Yeah.
sure, Conor asked him in the press conference, how does it feel to be a millionaire?
Yeah.
And it kind of, Nate kind of went, yeah, that feels kind of good.
Yeah.
Because he was in the middle of it telling him, fuck you, man. Fuck you. And he went, yeah, okay. That's kind of cool. All right, thanks.
So all Nate has to do is one more fight, and he's laughing.
Well, he can just he can stock up on weed now.
Yeah.
He probably has enough weed to last him into retirement. Holly Holm and Miesha Tate, I thought was the fight of the night for me.
That was a great fight.
It was a great fight.
Really good fight to watch. Really, really strategic. Really interesting. And fair play, Miesha Tate. Holly Holm made almost a mistake.
Yeah.
She made one almost mistake, and Tate was on her.
Yeah.
Which sets up a love triangle.
It does.
Yeah.
So, trying to explain this to lay people, Ronda Rousey can't beat Holly Holm. She's beaten Miesha Tate a lot, though.
Yeah.
So now in UFC 200, Ronda Rousey can get her title back. And then at 201 or 2, she can lose it again.
Yay!
So what we have here is Ronda's amazing on the ground.
Yeah.
Misha's very, very good on the ground, but Ronda beats her on the ground.
That's right.
But Holm beats Ronda on the feet.
That's right.
But Miesha she leveled with her on the feet and then beat her on the ground. Rock, paper, scissors we've got going on here, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just know that Dana White is going to put the three of them in the ring together.
No, Holly Holm was very close to beating Tate.
Yeah.
She was really close to it. And
she had there was opportunity there, all right. Yeah, for sure.
If it went the distance, I probably would have favoured Holm. Like, I think the decision would have gone to Holm. So
quite likely,
Tate was lucky in a way. Like, I don't think it was luck. I think it was pure skill that allowed her to capitalise on the mistake and not give up. Like, that's not luck. That's being ready, keeping calm, and then taking opportunity was there. You have to be good for that. But on another token, she needed a mistake from her opponent.
But she'd obviously prepared very well. Like, she knew that Holm had the range, so she couldn't be trading shots with her. So she stayed outside until, as you say, the semi-mistake, and then she took her chance.
Yeah, and she can do that because she's not dependent on an art like judo.
Yeah.
She has wrestling, which allows you to attack the legs.
So what do you think a Holm-Ronda rematch with the winner going for the belt?
I don't think they'll do that. They'll put Ronda versus Tate in UFC 200.
You think so?
Yeah, that's the draw.
Probably makes sense.
Yeah. Because Ronda could win that, and then you've got Ronda back at the peak again, and she can then get beaten by Holm. I don't think Ronda will ever beat Holm. I think the skills she spent all of her life accumulating are the wrong ones for fighting someone with the movement and striking capability of Holm.
Yeah.
Although, if she was a bit smarter about it and used Misha's strategy of, stay away from her fucking fists, she might have some chance.
So many people said that about the Rousey-Holm fight originally. It wound me the fuck up.
Yeah.
Ronda wasn't stupid. She didn't go out there and go, I'm the champ. She can't hurt me. I'm just going to keep running at her till I grab her. And when I grab her, she's dead. That's not the way she thought. She said, I'm going to close the distance. I'm going to try and get into clinch. Then I'm going to use my judo to take her down. And once she's down, I've got her. That was her plan. And then she just went, oh, I can't close the distance. Fuck, there has to be a way. I have to keep trying. She kept trying different things that didn't work.
Oh.
Home kept punching her.
No. Home did not punch her. Rhonda was blocking the punches with her face.
Or that. Yeah, maybe that's what happened. But it wasn't a deficiency. Well, it is a deficiency in Rhonda's part, but it was largely due to Holly's movement, her lateral movement, that stopped Rhonda from getting anywhere. Yeah. But Tate is marginally better at that, though. And she's attacking to take her down in a different way than Rhonda is. Rhonda's walking in upright, you know. Yeah. She's not really shooting. Or at least she's not as good at shooting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, it was good.
Great show.
Yeah.
And McGregor will be back. We should probably mention that I don't think it's done any damage to the brand. I think McGregor is just as marketable as he ever was.
You know what? I think it's actually the way he handled it. It's done his brand a lot of good because he was able to say, "Yeah, I made mistakes." He was quite humble about it.
Yeah,
you know, and
he didn't piss off out of the ring.
Yeah,
a la Rousey.
Yeah,
he stood there and he had the chat.
And he went over and well done, lads. You know, congrats, hugging each other. You know, which is gas after cutting each other up for so often beforehand. Yeah. But no, I think it was gracious. Let's say. Now, I know there's loads of people dying to see this, but I think he might have turned a few of his haters into likers after.
I think so. Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
But he has so many options now. Like there's the rematch with Nate. There's the Dos Anjos fight on ice. What's his name? Aldo.
Yeah.
Called him out again.
Story about Aldo.
But 5 minutes after.
But look, goddamn, he better win the next one.
Yeah.
You know.
I follow Aldo on Facebook. And Aldo, as probably everyone in the world has seen, posted.
Does he post
on Sunday?
Subtitles?
Your Cinderella story is over, McGregor. Nowhere to hide now, pussy. I'll fight you, UFC 200.
Yeah.
So I immediately replied, cowardly, classless prick. Because he was offered that fight.
Yeah, he bitched out of that fight, didn't he?
He was offered that fight and he said, oh, I don't have a training camp. Like, Chael Sonnen has spent 2 podcasts giving out about him now.
What?
I said either did Nate Diaz. Diaz showed up.
Yeah.
Aldo didn't.
Yeah.
But so this is it. Like, he said that he could beat Conor anywhere, anytime. And then he said, well, actually, no, anywhere, anytime. If I have a full training camp, you know. And if I get a wee ouchie on my ribs at the end of that training camp, I'll need another one.
Yeah.
But I think, and he has pushed Conor's buttons, though. Conor's talking about fighting Aldo next.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is a pity, because I don't think Aldo deserves it. Like, I would like to see, what's his name? Wrestler guy?
Frankie Edgar. You're welcome.
Thank you. Jesus.
You know what Mike just gave us? The answer.
Just drew a complete blank.
Yeah. Frankie, the answer, Edgar.
Yeah. So, speaking of sinking ships.
So I watched Titanic for the first time.
What?
Did you? Wow.
I've never seen it before.
It's 20 years ago.
So there are people sitting at home who've never seen the Is It a Bicycle studio, but there's been a poster for the Titanic that Mike saved from when he was around watching people boarding the original Titanic. And so I've never watched this film. And like, I know all of the key moments in it because they're part of pop culture, but I'd never actually watched it end to end.
All right.
And I found myself home alone with nothing really better to do. And I wasn't on the podcast for the week because I was getting ready. I had done as much singing practice as a boy can do. Would you care to share that with the class, Michael?
I just told Steve I'll give you 10 to 1 that he cried.
I shed a couple tears. Look, everyone knows I wear my emotions on my sleeve. But you know what? It's not a bad film. It's not a bad film. I think it is. It stands the test of time quite well. So, like, I'm not really any good for watching stuff that hasn't done that. You know.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of classics that I'll never go back to just because they don't hold up, you know.
Yeah.
But I think this does. I think this you can quite easily watch this the same as any rom-com of the modern era. It's not a rom-com, like correct myself basically. But it's
a horror comedy.
Well, it's a dramatization of real events, you know. But it's good. It's really interesting. It's good.
Yeah.
I thought that they characterised the tragedy that was the Titanic. It's often forgotten very well. They threw in a love story for all of us girls. And it was good. They kept Celine Dion to the background as long as they could.
Yeah.
So I liked it.
Should have got the Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have been a little bit better if there was aliens in it?
Or a dragon or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big fucking kraken coming up out of the sea.
Yeah. No.
To take the survivors.
So, Flight 462.
Yeah, so this is a web series building some steam for the return of Fear of the Walking Dead.
Oh.
They're about a minute long each episode, and it's released on AMC's website, although I had to pick them up on YouTube because I'm not lucky enough to be in a region that AMC considers worthy of seeing their content. So you can get it watched in 10 minutes. I think there's 10 episodes out now. I've seen the first 8. It starts off with a plane in the air, and it's obviously the backdrop of things are happening around the world that, if you're aware of what zombies are, you might be suspicious. And lo and behold, there's a person on the flight who's quite sick.
They didn't cop on after the first 461 flights.
There's a World War I generals in charge. Yeah.
So it's basically a zombie outbreak on a plane, which is not a really good place to have a zombie outbreak.
Zombies on a plane.
Are there any snakes?
None.
Kill
if we could train the snakes to fight the zombies, then the plane would be safe.
Yes.
So zombies on a plane, yeah.
But it certainly got me in the mood for watching more Walking Dead, which is exactly what I did then. I went and I watched the rest of the Walking Dead that's been out. So I'm up to date in that as well. And it is still a bit different from other seasons.
Is it good?
They're almost trying to not make it as much of a spirit killer. You know the way an episode of The Walking Dead would depress you for the week?
Yeah.
And then you watch another episode on the Sunday to top up again. Well, these ones aren't quite as bad. Not quite as bad as far as I can venture. So I think it's a really good season though. And the premise they've set is a lot more Jack Bauer than usual. And that's my one issue with it. Like you used to have to wait weeks for something to happen in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It was mainly just pictures of people suffering.
Yeah.
But there's stuff happening every week now, and they've set up a premise that means there's going to be action right through the end of the season, I would say. So it's good.
Oh,
all right.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good. Also still good, DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And is it as we said it would be? It's a individual character each week gets the main headline.
Yeah. Well, I like this Katie Lotz.
Right.
Yes.
But they're focusing on different characters, different times. They're fleshing out everyone's story. We're getting to know them better. Dominic Purcell is the big guy with the flame gun. I think he was featured recently. He's becoming a good character, whereas he was completely one-dimensional in the pilot that we saw.
Yeah, he was a bit of a meathead. Yeah.
Wentworth Miller is still stealing the show, in my opinion. Him and Katie Lotz should get married.
Okay, so you still recommend it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think Flash first, then DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and then watch Arrow if you have to. That's how bad Arrow's gotten, actually.
Tell me, did you watch Agent Carter?
No.
No, why not?
It's rubbish.
What's the difference?
It's not relevant to the current superhero universe.
Okay, she doesn't have powers. Okay, I see.
I watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., although that's pretty poor as well.
Okay.
Like, I watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil, Jessica Jones, but Agent Carter is a different thing because it's in a different time. It doesn't affect any of the rest of them.
Okay.
Like, I have to keep watching Arrow now because it'll affect the events in the other shows.
Yeah.
Whereas Agent Carter...
So, okay, you're not...
He keeps having to wiki the history. And
yeah.
World War what now?
Finally got to see Grabbers.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about this last season as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw this last season.
It was such a load of shite.
Isn't it? It's hilarious, though. Hilarious.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely in the so bad it's good category.
For sure. It's a complete B movie, really.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
It's actually worse than I anticipated.
Tell us for those who
Sorry. This is the thing. It's on a remote island in Ireland, and some nasty, what do you call it? Octopus killer,
alien
killer
octopus-y
suck
stuff,
thing
yeah,
is killing people on the island, and they discover by accident that the only way to defeat it is to be drunk.
Yeah.
Alcohol apparently kills these things, so they all go off and get absolutely shit-faced.
Yeah, they have a lock-in.
They have a lock-in for the whole island to protect them from the threat from this alien cephalopod or whatever the fuck it is. And it's exactly what you would expect if you got 30 paddies in a room with free drink.
Yeah.
And,
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was. There was a few familiar faces in it. One of the girls from The Commitments showed up. I haven't seen her for a long, long time.
Yeah.
One of the backing singers, not the good-looking one.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, Mike. Shallow much?
That's what I'm here for.
I'm trying to think. What's her name again? She was Garda Lisa, wasn't she?
No. She was in the front row of the church.
Oh, Brona Gallagher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. She was. Yeah. Garda Lisa was Ruth Bradley, actually. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it's shown on the Horror Channel.
Is it?
To look, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. It should be on the Comedy Channel, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can we go to the first of our TV now?
Okay, Steve, if you must.
Okay,
if you must.
First of our TV is Stag, which has been shown on BBC Two. It's a three-parter. Mm-hmm. It's a sort of a dark whodunit comic thriller.
Yeah.
Horror comedy? Kind of? Yeah. Okay. It's written and created by Jim Field Smith and George Kay. Jim Field Smith is, of course, the man who brought us The Wrong Mans. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
With James Corden. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And who else is in it that is of note? James Cosmo. Mm-hmm. He was the leader of the Crows in Game of Thrones. Do you remember?
Okay.
Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah. He played a gameskeeper.
Yeah,
he didn't say much, and he's very gruff and he had a big shotgun.
He's also Braveheart's father-in-law.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So it's about a group of absolute obnoxious bullies, tossers who go on a stag weekend, and the bride's brother is sent along by the bride to replace one
spy
of the guys,
in the ranks.
Yeah, to look after the groom. So it goes from there. Mm-hmm. He's I guess the outcast, not the outcast. He's the spare wheel.
Yeah,
did he have to come along?
Yeah, because he doesn't know anybody else.
He doesn't know any of them, and he doesn't know the relationships between the lads, or the history, or their kind of humor, or what they're into. He's just he's a completely different social network, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Like he turns up in a tux, thinking that it's a black tie event, and he's dropped off at this crossroads in the middle of the Highlands, and he was told that he'd be picked up, but he's left there in the lashing rain for hours and hours until someone just happens to pass in a Land Rover. So, so then he's playing catch up pretty much for the rest of this episode.
More or less,
yeah. What did you think?
I did like this. I liked the setup of the outsiders, coming into this small village in the middle of fucking nowhere, and it's immediately obvious that the locals don't care much.
Oh God, yeah. They're a bunch of assholes. Yeah.
Yeah, they, in fairness, they don't make too much of an effort to fit in, do they?
No.
So, I mean, this is a classic setup. It's been done over and over, where you have these outsiders in a community, and then what can possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
And I like the mood of it. They've. Even in the first scene, it's kind of semi-comic, because your man, he's sitting there in his tux, and he's like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" or whatever. Yeah. And then the dreadful music comes in, so it's completely changed it, just with the music from this is a comedy. Oh, this might be serious. Something bad might happen to this guy. Yeah. So I like the way they kind of mess with your expectations a little bit there.
Yeah, well, it's no spoiler in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're told that you know, they go off. They're there to go stag hunting, and the gameskeeper is the guy who'll be leading them.
Right.
But they sort of get separated and left alone with no firearms, but they start being picked off one by one.
Yeah.
And they don't know by whom or what or where and when. So that kind of that leads to some quite funny moments, actually. I have to say. Because they expect everything to be a trap.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
But like it harkens back to classic movies like Squeal Like a Pig and Southern Comfort, all these kind of things.
Yeah, they reference a few of them as well, actually. Yeah.
So I mean, if you like that, you're going to enjoy this kind of thing. I think.
Yeah. Will you watch more?
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, when I was reading about this before I watched it, and I wish I hadn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I came into this totally
blind.
cold.
Did you? Yeah, nice. Yeah. And the thing that I wanted I thought I was going to be watching something like The Wrong Man's.
Okay.
So immediately I was going, okay, this is going to be a laugh.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
You had your laughing pants on, did you?
Yeah. And there's not so many laughs in this.
No.
Not like the wrong man's, which is The Wrong Man's is just it's ridiculous, like ridiculous funny. Whereas this had a bit more of a serious kind of an air about it. So
I think that the comedy is more of a deception, really, to draw you in, and then you're like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Yeah, and I probably will give the second one a look, all right, because it's got a great hook. So yeah, I guess it's a thriller for me. Yeah,
good thriller for me too.
Yeah, it's on BBC Two at the moment, so check it out. You can watch it on catch up, on the BBC player.
Speaking of the BBC,
yeah,
have you noticed they put BBC Three onto internet only?
No, I haven't.
That annoyed the piss out of me. Because I tended to watch a lot of BBC Three stuff.
Oh yeah,
they have lots of good documentaries and Scandic Noir kind of series.
Why don't you watch it on the internet?
I don't like watching on the internet. It's a shitty small ass screen and fucking I don't want to have to plug my laptop into my fucking TV. And
just get a Chromecast.
Fuck that. Then I have to put something into the side of my laptop to broadcast to my TV.
You don't.
Ah, shut up. Yeah. You and your fucking technology.
You can broadcast it from your phone or you can broadcast it from your laptop.
To what?
To the Chromecast. It uses your Wi-Fi.
How is it getting into the TV?
You plug it into your USB port.
So I have to plug something in?
Yeah, once.
Yeah. It's enough to piss me off.
Mike, you're just being awkward now. Okay. Next up, we watched a movie. Mark, Hail Caesar. Tell us about it.
So Hail Caesar is about the movie industry in the 70s, maybe?
Ish.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of years.
Okay.
And
50s, I think.
50s, okay.
Yeah.
50s. I took a swing, right? I took a swing.
Okay.
Mark studied history at the Zoolander College.
George Clooney. George Clooney is a famous actor in this film, much like he is in real life. And he gets kidnapped by some communist aspirants, I guess you would call them. And our hero has to get him back.
Oh. Okay.
Hail Caesar.
So
who's our hero?
So he's a fixer.
Yep.
Ah.
He's the Ray Donovan of Hollywood in the 50s.
Okay. So there's a load of people in this that we know.
He is the Jack Bauer, if Jack Bauer worked for movie stars to save films instead of the free world.
Okay. Well, that's a legitimate pastime, you know.
So this stars Channing Tatum, Frances McDormand, George Clooney, Jonah Hill, Josh Brolin, Ray Fiennes, Scarlett Johansson.
Josh Brolin, that's the guy. Josh Brolin is the hero.
Directed by the Coen brothers.
Which is why I put it on the list.
Oh.
It's a dramedy mystery musical.
Oh.
Channing Tatum is amazing.
Really?
He's the musical part. He does a dancing, singing thing.
Oh, yeah.
And like as soon as it came on, I wish I was back on stage. He was really good. But he's barely in it. He's in it slightly more than he was in that End of the World thing,
Right.
where he was a gimp.
I've heard this about this movie, that a lot of the main big stars aren't in it long enough because there's so many of them.
Yeah, that is an issue.
Yeah.
But Josh Brolin is really good, as is George Clooney.
Yeah.
So I think they carry it along. There's some really funny things in it, really funny moments. Like,
It sounds a little bit capery when you get those big ensemble casts.
oh, do you know what I meant to do? I meant to fucking message you, Mike, and do an over-under bet on how long it would take Steve to call this a caper. But I completely forgot. Balls. That would have been a bit of crack. Yeah, it's good, like. I enjoyed it. I laughed out loud a few times. I laughed out loud enough that people in the cinema noticed me.
They didn't just notice you because of the big fucking hat you were wearing.
Or the mascara running down your face.
So I thought that it's very cleverly written. Like, some of the jokes are really funny. Some of them are quite subtle.
Yeah.
The look on Hollywood is, I think it's quite smart. Like, the Coen brothers obviously have something they want to say here with this movie, and I thought it was really effective. And Clooney is basically playing his character from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh.
He even uses some of the looks that character used.
Right.
And it's just when he looks, and he's brilliant. He's playing a person like himself. And you know, like, sometimes when people play themselves, how they can really just go to town on it. And I think he does in this. So whenever he's being filmed acting, he's just brilliant. And then they have, there's a guy, there's a cowboy in it trying to do drama acting. And he's the source of some of the best jokes in the movie, like. But I think it's really clever. It's like, there's enough going on with Josh Brolin, like, in real terms, his character has an arc, and that it's interesting. And then there's all this other ridiculous stuff happening around it.
Okay.
But it's just enough that the whole film doesn't lose its way.
Oh, okay.
I think that they walk the balance really, really well. It's a fine balance at times, but I think they do it quite well. And a lot of the time things seem ridiculous. Like, when Channing Tatum is introduced, you go, oh my God, what is the point? Like, and then he has relevance, a couple of scenes later. I just think it's very well written. I think it's, at times I thought the whole thing was going to fall apart, but it defies the odds and hangs together really well and tells a really interesting story.
Huh.
So there is a story. It's not just like cheap laughs from start to finish kind of thing.
No, definitely not. No, it's quite smart. I think. Am I the only one that's seen this?
Yes.
You take a guess.
In this room, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, they're filming a film, like, even the premise of the film is ridiculous. So it's a film about the death of Jesus Christ seen through the eyes of a Roman general.
Right.
Right? And Jesus is never actually seen on screen.
Right.
It's like you see the back of his head at one stage. Oh, there's this amazing scene where they filmed George Clooney playing the Roman general looking at Jesus. And he's getting direction the whole time. And he just keeps going through, like, different facial expressions. And it's just amazing. Like, he's so funny. But, like, it is 100% a caper. It's 100% a caper. Like, there's no better way, I think, to pass 2 hours than by watching this. You don't need to be in the cinema for it, is the only issue. Like, I think this should do really well on DVD.
Cool. I do like a good farce now and again.
Yeah, farce is a good word, Steve. But again, I'm a bit, I think maybe farce isn't the right word, actually, because it gets very close to farcicality, but it doesn't quite go there.
Right.
It still stays a little bit serious. Like, if you think of the Coen brothers' other stuff where they mess with comedy, it's very like that, where they walk the line. What was the one where Brad Pitt was playing this sporty idiot?
Oh, yeah. In the wardrobe.
Yeah.
He was a personal trainer or some shit like that.
Jennifer Aniston, that as well.
Oh, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah,
but it's Coen brothers style. I think this is something that they do well, and Hail Caesar is a good example of it. It's not out of this world, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Given that I've just come off stage Jesus Christ Superstar, and I want to make sure I mention that enough times in the podcast, watching a film about the filming of a Jesus Christ film was amazingly appropriate for my Sunday evening. And I enjoyed it. So for me, it's a 7, a really enjoyable 7. I think you'd be well served waiting till it's on DVD. There's a lot of good stuff coming out at the minute. You know, you wouldn't have to waste your cinema trip on this. It wouldn't be a waste, that being said. It's very easy to enjoy. You could watch it with anybody. It mentions the Communist Manifesto and Mein Kampf for intelligent people like Mike that might want to watch it also.
Was it Burn After Reading?
Burn After Reading is the one I was thinking of.
It was, okay.
It was.
Yeah, cool.
It reminded me of that.
Yeah.
That kind of things are almost too funny or too ridiculous to be taken seriously, but there's still a serious story being told underneath.
Okay, yeah.
That was happening in this as well.
Cool. Can't wait.
Josh Brolin's character is at a crossroads in his life during this film that resolves by the end. And it's all done while Channing Tatum is doing a dance scene. A brilliant dance scene. Like when that gets released on YouTube, I'm going to watch that a lot. Like it's just... Because I was looking around, I was sitting on my own. I went to see it on my own, and I was looking around going, fuck, I wish there was someone beside me so I could go, isn't he amazing? Because as everyone knows, Channing is an amazing dancer. And he would have been doing all this stuff himself, but it was like there was tap dancing, and it was just... But it was just so funny the way they did it.
So it could be 2016's best farcical caper?
Oh.
It could be. It'd be up there for best comedy, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd probably put it on the list for Comedy of the Year. But I guess, you know, it's only March. It's the 8th of March when we're recording. It'll be the 10th when you guys are, or 11th when you guys are listening to this.
Yeah.
It's early in the year yet. But, yeah, it's good. It's a 7 for me, Steve.
Cool. 7. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm looking forward to this now. Since I forgot to do the news earlier, I think I'll do it now. So let's go to the news.
Shona is going to be so happy that you forgot the news. Because if even a seasoned producer / host can do it, anybody can.
Maybe I'll just edit it in earlier.
Cheeky bastard.
I know, yeah. I'll leave this bit in as well. Okay, so MTV Awards. This year, they're coming up in April, I believe, around the 10th-ish or something. Okay. It's going to be hosted by The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, which would make it worth watching in itself.
Just for that, yeah.
Yeah. So their nominations, right? See, listen to this, how different it is to the Academy, right? So their nominations for Movie of the Year, right? First is Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Oh, these are fan-chosen.
Yeah. Next is Creed, Deadpool, Jurassic World, Star Wars, Straight Outta Compton.
Oh.
Okay, so we can
There's a pattern here.
There's a demographic here. I'm feeling it already, right?
Yeah.
Then they have the best true story, the best documentary, best female performance. So we've got Alicia Vikander for Ex Machina, Anna Kendrick, Pitch Perfect 2, Charlize Theron, Mad Max, Daisy Ridley, Star Wars, Jennifer Lawrence, Joy, and Marina Baccarin for Deadpool. Which is good all around up there.
There's no Meryl Streep?
And there's no, what's her name, for Room?
Oh, yeah. Room Girl.
Room Girl.
Steve.
Brie Larson.
Steve.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally, we have an award show I can get behind. So next year, around Oscar time, instead of making sure we watch everything on the Oscar list, we should watch everything on the MTV Movie Award list.
I think we've pretty much seen everything now. I'm looking down at it.
That's because Mark made us.
That's thanks to Mark's diligence, I was just about to say. Yeah. So, best male performance, Chris Pratt for Jurassic Park, Leonardo DiCaprio for Revenant, Matt Damon, The Martian, Michael B. Jordan for Creed, Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, Will Smith, Concussion. Will Smith got in there at last. You'll be delighted.
I thought he wasn't working anymore.
It was his missus that was given out about the Oscars originally, you see. And that's why they didn't go, because they took their ball and went home.
All right, yeah. I thought it was just
because no one liked it.
Because nobody gave him any work anymore.
There's a few cool categories in this. Like they've got best or breakthrough performance, right? They've got best comedic performance, best action performance,
best catsuit.
Not yet. They've got Best Hero, Best Villain, and Best Virtual Performance.
Is that cartoons and shit?
That means they were going to turn up and they didn't. No, it's, what do you call it? Things like Amy Poehler for Inside Out, Andy Serkis for Star Wars, he played Supreme Leader, Snoke, Jack Black, Kung Fu Panda 3, that kind of thing. So, and what else? Best Ensemble Cast, Ensemble, Best Kiss, Best Fight.
Best Fight, that's a good category.
So that's got Deadpool, The Revenant, which is Leonardo versus the Bear. Mad Max is in there, Iron Man's in there, Star Wars is in there, and Spy is in there. So that's coming up April 10th. So that should be interesting anyway. I'm more interested in the guys hosting it than the awards, really. But anyway.
Actually, you just reminded me, when I went to see Grimsby last week, one of the trailers was Captain America beating the snot out of Iron Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which I thought Mark might be a little bit interested in.
That's for Civil War.
This is for Civil War,
yeah. I didn't think Cap had it in him. Yeah. I have new respect for him. Because, he's not a machine.
Well, it's obvious that someone stole the suit again.
No, I told you it's Iron Man who's fighting. They fight in Civil War. Yeah. So, the deal is, right, if you're in your own comic, you win.
Okay.
Okay.
If you're in their comic,
yeah,
you win. So I guess they translate that to be, if you're in your own movie,
you're
going to win.
Right.
Because round 2 will come in Iron Man then.
Yeah.
Then Iron Man will be all badass.
Unless he saves the cat and he just lets him away with it and he's a really nice guy.
Could happen.
Yeah. And then we'll all like him. Let me see. The other item in news. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill. So they're in...
Are they getting married?
21, 22...
Beat me to it, Mike. Beat me to it.
21, 22 Jump Street. So 23 Jump Street will in fact be a crossover film with Men in Black. Yeah.
Come on.
No, so this was first leaked, as part of Sony's hack in 2014. And so now several industry publications have confirmed that the studio is moving ahead with the project. So Jonah Hill, actually in that hack, was seen to say something along like, cool, rad, awesome, let's do it, so, right. Yeah. Oh. So, that would be interesting. It won't star Tommy Lee and Will, though, apparently.
But
so
doesn't Will need to pay his mortgage?
So I think that's well paid at this stage. I would imagine that they'll do bring in new blood, and then they'll go on and make the following movies, because obviously that franchise is still alive and well. And the other two dudes have moved on to other stuff. I think that'd be a bit of crack, actually.
Yeah, wouldn't be funny if it won an Oscar.
More likely, I think, the MTV Awards. Okay, so we move on. The second of our TV is Hap and Leonard. Mike.
Hap and Leonard is two buddies in Texas in the 80s, and they're basically trying to get by hand to mouth on manual labor day jobs. And they've obviously known each other a long time, and an opportunity comes to them to finally make some money. Unfortunately, this opportunity comes via Hap's ex-wife, who has, shall we say, issues.
Yeah.
And
were they married?
Yeah, they were.
Oh, I thought they were just it was a long-term relationship type. I didn't realize they're married.
As far as if
I
remember rightly, she said
they
were married and then she left him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I should mention that the girl that left him is Christina Hendricks.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's been working out.
Doing a lot of benching. So this stars Michael Kenneth Williams, who we all know and love from The Wire and Boardwalk Empire, and James Purefoy, who we know from John Carter, Knight's Tale, Solomon Kane, etc.
Yep.
So yeah, what you
We
think?
know him from that epic TV show, The Following.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true. Yeah.
That's where he's actually famous.
I just remember him from the other ones.
It does quite a good American accent, actually.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. I didn't at any stage think, oh, you're putting that on, which is not that easy to do.
Not at all. He was in Rome as well, wasn't
He was.
he? Yeah.
Was he Pompey in Rome?
Ew. Can't remember.
Don't bother looking it up. Yeah.
Can't remember. Was he or wasn't he?
Email to podcast
Yeah. No, he was Mark Antony.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure about this. It has very, very cool graphics and stuff at the start. It's obviously a lot of time, effort, and very talented artists brought in to make this. And I was enjoying it.
Okay.
I was enjoying it, and I thought the story was kind of cool.
There's a pregnant butt in there.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, like ex-Rose Gardener turned, I don't know.
Thought you couldn't get pregnant that way.
Turned, I don't know, sort of shaker and mover. But I was just let down by the script, I think, by the writing in the dialogue.
Do you think?
Yeah, the dialogue, I just didn't think it was that strong.
Oh.
And maybe it's a cultural thing.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't, I don't know, written for European audiences or something, but it kind of slipped. It slipped. There was a few times where there was a few phrases in there. I just thought, God damn it, he never said that. Know? There's no way that guy would never have said that. Yeah, maybe if he was 18, and lived in the valley, maybe then, But no, it just, it didn't convince me. And then I started poking holes in it.
Oh, okay. You got the arms crossed then.
Yeah. Then I was just then I was upset.
That's a load of shite.
Yeah. There's no way. So that was that then. Yeah. So I never recovered from that, actually, I have to say. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You almost sound you're a little bit traumatized.
Yeah, it was tough. I worked through it. It was hard on everyone. But made it out the other side eventually. But
and how's the counselling going?
No, it's 3 times weekly. But anyway. No, it was tough. It was tough.
Sometimes they bring up things you just don't want to talk about.
The thing was, you see, I really wanted to like it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to like it because it had the right style. The style was great. The cinematography was great. And you've got 3 fantastic actors there playing the lead roles.
Yeah.
And initially, I didn't recognize what the issue was, and I was like, "What's wrong with this?" Because the story's good. Yeah. And then he said something. One of the characters said something. I was just like, there it is. Yeah, that's the problem.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I don't know, Steve. I just don't know.
Okay.
Because
tell me why, Mike.
The cinematography was great. The acting was great. I actually thought the writing was quite good. Particularly the relationship between the 2 boys.
Yes. Yes.
It's something, especially on TV, you don't see done well that often, is just lads taking the piss out of each other.
Yes, that's true. I did enjoy those moments. Yeah.
And I thought they caught that quite well.
I liked his banter with the ex as well, with Christina. And, that was fine too. What about the flashbacks?
Flashbacks?
I know you're not a fan of them.
Generally not.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were overdone.
Yeah.
I did love...
There was a few of them, though.
There was a few of them. But particularly the opening, I thought that worked really well.
Oh, that was great.
That was
great. Yeah.
What was the tune?
I can't remember. That should be in a Coen Brothers movie, though.
Yeah. But straight away, it was like, what's going on? Oh.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Oh, this place is cool. Look at those old cars. Oh, he's been shot. Shit. And I thought that was a great way to open the show.
It was, yeah.
And
I was nearly disappointed that they didn't
continue on from there. Yeah. Strange choice of era, 1988.
Yeah.
Why that?
I don't know. Was it nearly 30 years ago now?
Yeah. So it starts off like really old ago, and now it's just old ago.
Yeah. But not old enough, really, is it?
Yeah.
It's not a golden era, like
No,
1988.
No.
You know,
No, the 80s was an ugly time.
yeah, yeah.
Thank God I burned all the pictures of me in the 80s.
Did you, or do you think you'll watch more of this? Did
Yes.
you enjoy it enough that you'll watch more of it?
Yes, I certainly will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally bought into the whole worldview. It was like an older version of Justified.
I was going to say, is that what?
Yeah,
that's why I thought you might like it.
Yeah, it's that honky tonk fucking.
Yeah. You like the honky tonky trailery driving a pickup?
Oh, trailer trash all the way. Yeah,
cowboy boots on for 2 years. Yeah.
Fucking rifle in the gun rack. Yeah. The back of the van. Yeah.
Lady, I'd like a room.
Yeah.
Can you bring up some hot water for the bath? You know, help me off with these boots here, will you?
Yeah. Hard dick ain't got no conscience.
Oh God, he said that, didn't he? Yeah. That's so funny. Been on the trail for 2 weeks now. Yeah, so you'll watch more. So that's, I guess that's a trailer from you.
I think it is. Yeah.
It's.
I'm not feeling the love from you, Steve.
No, I think I'm going to have to give it filler. You know.
Yeah. Don't be
what?
sad about it, Steve.
No, listen.
Respect your own opinions.
No, I'm just disappointed, Mike. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
It's not sad.
That's what my dad kept on
I
saying
know,
to me.
I know. I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed, which is worse. Yeah. No, but I'd be interested to hear what you say about for future episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Because
stick with it.
I might dive back in again if you say it picks up or
Yeah.
Cool.
But if it picks up, in my opinion, it'll get even more honky.
Right. Probably. Okay. Next up, we will look at some previews in Coming to a Bicycle near you. First one is Ghostbusters. Like, you haven't seen Ghostbusters before, but you kind of have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Ghostbusters with girls, really.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I need a clarification, though. It's probably the wrong week to bring it up. Mm-hmm. If two women have a conversation about a ghost that it was a man, does that pass or fail the Bechdel test?
That's funny. So this is IMDb tells us 30 years after Ghostbusters took the world by storm, the beloved franchise makes its long-awaited return. So director Paul Feig brings his fresh take to the supernatural comedy, joined by some of the funniest actors working today. They would be Christian Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Melissa McCarthy. Who else is in this? Sigourney Weaver, Elizabeth Perkins. Oh, Chris Hemsworth's in it. Bill Murray's in it as well. Remember Hap and Leonard?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Michael Kenneth Williams is also in this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Leslie Jones. Dan Aykroyd makes an appearance. List goes on. Essentially, those are Ghostbusters that are still alive.
Yeah.
Actually, turn up for cameos. Yeah. Ernie Hudson's also in it, actually, and Andy Garcia. So, yeah, it's a strong cast, has to be said. I'm not convinced by the trailer.
It looks like shite.
Put it bluntly, yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does a bit, doesn't it?
I'll put my cards on the table. I didn't really like the original.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
I'm not one of the...
That won't help. Yeah.
I'm not one of the clamouring audience that is dying to see
You're
this.
not a fanboy, so yeah.
No. So it would have to be a good movie in its own right to convince me. And I'm not seeing too much of that there.
I was looking forward to it, but the trailer hasn't convinced me. I'll wait for the next trailer before I make up my mind, but I probably will see it just to work through the whole sentimentality of it and put it to bed.
About 5 years ago, they finally released a PS3 game entitled Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Written in conjunction with Dan Aykroyd, I believe.
Okay.
Based on the Ghostbusters franchise and to be considered canon, right? So it was as Ghostbusters as you could get.
Okay.
And I, unlike Mike, really liked the Ghostbusters, both of them.
Yeah.
And I watched the Ghostbusters cartoon when it came on.
Right.
Like Mike, you were probably in your early 60s by the time the cartoon hit our screens.
Yeah, I was a bit old for it at that stage.
So you would have missed that, but I was still a sprightly whippersnapper. So Ghostbusters was a big part of my growing up. So then I bought the game and realised I'd made a terrible mistake.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I don't know if it's just that concept doesn't translate well to a game or if I've changed, but somebody has changed along the way. And not in a Rocky Ivan Drago way where we can unite nations in a way that makes it impossible to be friends. So watching this trailer, which was far too long and gave away far too much anyway, I don't ever want to watch this. I think we should just leave the Ghostbusters films as they were. They were good for what they were at the time. Unlike Titanic, going back and watching them might just ruin a memory from our childhood. That's what I think.
That's not a good sign, man. If the fanboys don't want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure as fuck not going to watch it if Mark isn't.
Yeah.
I've literally no interest.
Yeah. It's a pity, isn't it? Disappointed again. God, it's been a disappointing week. Shall we move on? Okay.
Yep.
Next one we saw was Nina, which stars Zoe Saldana and this guy, I can never pronounce his surname. Where's Sean?
Olaway.
Do you know how to say it? David?
Olaway.
This is the story of the late jazz musician and classical pianist Nina Simone. And it talks about her relationship with her manager and her rise to fame and all the alcohol she drank, I guess, as well. Yeah. This looks interesting.
Strangely enough, I agree with you.
Yes.
When I first looked at it, I thought, Jesus.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Nina fucking Simone, Jesus.
Well, I like Nina Simone. but I didn't really particularly think that I wanted to see the backstory.
Well,
because I like her music, you know.
Like, what was that TV show with Mick Jagger last week we'd looked at? The week before.
Oh, Vinyl.
Vinyl.
Yeah.
I thought immediately it's going to be one of these things where you have to be into the music to really get the show.
Right.
But I'm, not being a Nina Simone fan, obviously I'd say, why would I watch this?
Yeah.
But then they just give you a little bit of the story, which I didn't know in the trailer. And I thought, oh, okay.
Yeah.
There might be something worth watching there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be like every scene is just leading up to an excuse to have a song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd give this the benefit of the doubt.
Huh. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Yeah, I'd like to see this now. And there's a few tunes when they played a tune that sort of picked up the pace, because they started the trailer with like a slowish song.
Yep.
And then it came in with the piano, God, I can't remember the name of the tune, but it's a classic tune. It's one of my favourites by her.
Chopsticks.
But yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Mark, will you watch this?
It's not my kind of film. I saw a couple of glimpses of some really sincere performances from both of them, though. I think it might be quite affecting if I did watch it. So, it's as these kind of dramas go, these biopic dramas, I would have a little bit of interest, just because I think there might be some really strong acting coming from it. Ordinarily, though, no, this is not my kind of stuff.
But like, if it came across that she had suffered like Jesus, maybe you would.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, we're moving on. Right. Get her to put on a Technicolor Dreamcoat. Yeah. Okay, next one we looked at was They're Watching. So, an American woman moves to Moldova. She looks at a house in Moldova that's in an absolute state and decides to buy it. It's perfect, she says. Was it 5 years later?
Yeah,
5 years later,
like that.
a home improvement show, an American TV crew from a home improvement show go to visit her to see what it looks like. But they kind of get trapped in Moldova by a crowd of villagers out for revenge, horror and blood. Yeah, so that's where it starts. Yeah. It looks...
I guess there'll be some chopping and hacking.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's implied, all right. Yeah. This stars Bridget Branagh, actually. But it looks quite funny. I thought this would be right up your street, Mike. It's kind of an angle on the whole teens stuck in a log cabin in the woods type story, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's not going to do much for the Moldovan Tours Board, is it?
No. There's a bit of ignorance there, all right, isn't it? It's a little bit. Is it Doonesbury, or who's the guy who always goes to Moldova? What's his name? Cartoon character, the Office guy.
Spider-Man.
No, you know the guy Office with. He's a cover.
Dilbert.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. The Moldovan guys who are always up to their knees in mud. Yeah. I think it's a bit of. It's like any of the. What was the name of that movie where there was a giant bird set in Ireland, The Rock? Thing. Yeah. It's that kind of thing where they had the whole diddly do you want some potatoes kind of thing, they play the stereotype on the country that they're in, but it looks funny despite that.
Wyvern, that was called.
Wyvern, was it?
Yeah.
Go watch it. Yeah, it's great.
Classic.
So you're enthusiastic?
I'm cautiously optimistic about this.
Yeah.
I don't like mixing too much comedy into my horror.
Right.
No, I like it to be one or the other.
Just straight up one or the other. Yeah. Just vodka, thanks. Don't mix it with no mixer. Yeah. No, I'll have an orange on the side. Thanks.
There's enough water in it already.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Mark.
Well, one of the interesting things I noticed in the credits is that the writing is one of the writers has a writing credit for Black Ops 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which everybody knows is the best campaign of the Call of Duty franchise.
But it's also from the writers of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Which is unfortunate.
Which is a solid show in its own right.
One of Mike's top 10.
Yeah.
Right there.
For different reasons.
They cover a lot of issues.
So the Black Ops 2 campaign was when they actually tried to take that shit seriously.
Yeah.
It featured branching story for the first time that was actually meaningful.
Yeah.
There was multiple endings. And the actual story, it was really good. They had Sam Worthington was the main character, playing Mason. Mm-hmm. And it was a kind of a Cold War era.
Oh, yeah.
Espionage type thing. It was like, there's something that's very like, this guy had stuff implanted in his head. Tell me about the numbers, Mason. It's all about the numbers. Wow. And then you go, I'm trying to remember. And then your next level would start. And you'd be somewhere.
That was a good campaign.
It was a great campaign. It's the only one I would even think about playing again. So I've been starting to touch on the Black Ops 3 campaign, and I just keep going, like, I don't know why the fuck I'm doing this to myself. Like. And then I just quit and I go back online and murder some fools. But there's new tactics appearing this week as well, Steve. I'm nice to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I'll not get into it.
Let's talk later, actually. I have some stuff to ask you about in relation to Black Ops, actually.
They're watching anyway. I think might go too far and be too silly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I think they have the right elements there to make a decent film. It's actually, we talked about Grabbers at the start of the show. It's not too far away from that, I would say.
Actually, yeah. There you go.
Very similar kind of thing,
Yeah. So we'll mark it out of 2 then.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm just worried it'd be too silly,
Yeah.
Like, there's something that has a really, really long tongue in it.
Right.
It's probably a tentacle, but you'd wonder where that comes from.
Some very talented Moldovians or something. Okay. So that's all we had for this week. So
what were you going to ask me about Black Ops? Now the fans are on the edge of their seats.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if it's Black Ops, but it was one of the series. And there was a deathmatch game, right? There was a map, and I'm trying to remember which version it was. But at part of the map, there's like a platform and there's a helicopter thing. There's like a base up top, but you could run off the edge of the base, and then there's a cliff, and you'd skydive down into another one. But it was like at the start, everyone would run for the edge and just jump off the edge, and so you're skydiving down with like about 10 people or whatever on your side. But the guys down the base below had a couple of helicopters, so they could come back up to the top of you.
Oh, so that wasn't Call of Duty.
Oh, was that Modern Warfare?
Sounds a lot like Halo.
It was probably Battlefield.
Oh, was it?
It was one of those.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's no vehicle combat or in.
Yeah. It was probably
Call of Duty.
Battlefield. Now that you mention it, yeah. Okay.
And I don't know the multiplayer maps for Call of Duty 4.
Right.
So unless it's one of those.
No, I don't think it's that far up. No.
Corrections to podcast at bicycle.com.
Yeah, that solved it for me. Thanks. Yeah.
So we got an email in this week.
Oh, yeah.
For anyone who wants to send us in, ask us a question, talk to us, give us your opinions. You can email podcast at isitbicycle.com. This question is for Mike. Mike, you seem the best prepared for post-apocalypses.
Go on.
Apocalypse.
What is your preferred weapon of choice for fast-moving zombie infestations?
Did they mention a range?
I'm giving you the question. This is from Jared in Cornwall.
All right. Yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking about this. You know, you want stopping power, but you also want repeatability, and you also have to take into account a closed space. Mm-hmm. You know, it's grand if you're in an open field and you can just pop them off with a 2-2 from 500 yards or whatever. But like if you're doing room to room, I'd like to have a pistol, but that shit's going to run out of ammo very quickly. So I'd be thinking maybe along the lines of a Roman gladius as my personal weapon.
Interesting.
Yeah,
like a short sword.
Yeah, it's got the weight to cave through a skull. It's also got a point just in case you need to go up underneath the jaw, and it's a solid weapon. Like the Romans didn't get that big for no reason, so that's not going to break down on you, you know. Yeah. But for sure, I'd like a Glock or an MP5 just like for the crack.
Our next email is from Mick in County Cork. Mick wants to know our opinions on Back to the Future. He said, Bicycasters, you've talked a lot about your childhood being raped over the years, but I've never heard your views on Michael J. Fox' time-travelling classic Back to the Future. Thriller or filler? Now, you have to forgive him. Mm-hmm. He says thriller or filler about a film rather than TV. But I think it's old enough that he's probably right to look at it that way.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's a classic.
Yeah.
I think it's liked by everyone. Mm-hmm. I think I don't know of anyone who didn't like it.
No. It's a bit like...
at the time, it was amazing. Well, but I don't know if that was just my age or... There wasn't a movie like it before it. Like, that was so... had so much money spent on it, to make it look so good.
Yeah.
Because it was all we talked about for months. The various gadgets and stuff of the future. It's your visualization that was amazing.
Well, here, I'll just throw it out to you. It's like, what, it must be 30 years ago, is it?
Yeah.
We have our St. Patrick's Day parade every year down in the village. We're fortunate enough to have one. And they often have classic cars as part of the parade.
Yeah.
And every so often...
The highlight
is the...
DeLorean. Yeah.
The DeLorean.
Yeah.
And it comes to the village. And even today, even kids who've never fucking seen Back to the Future look at it like...
What the hell is that? Yeah.
That's so fucking cool.
It's so funny every time I see one. I do tend to see. Well, I obviously mix in the circles that would be into their cars, but it's funny anytime I see them on the road. It's just oh my god, and it stands out so much. It's So that and the Doc, of course, he's still brilliant.
Yeah.
He was. Anytime I saw him in anything afterwards, he was always the Doc.
Yeah.
But he always had that. I always enjoyed, no matter what he was doing, I always enjoyed watching him because he still had that thing in your head that he's the Doc. Yeah.
And there's still great scenes that I think would stand up today, like that epic moment when Michael J. Fox has to make the choice whether to hit back or not.
Yeah.
You still remember that.
With Biff.
How many movies from 30 years ago do you remember a scene out of? Apart from Predator.
Oh, well, there's that. And there's so much in it. I mean, who's it? Lexus recently made the hoverboard thing.
Still trying to catch up with it.
We had the date last October.
Yeah.
2015, or whatever it was, 22nd of October.
That was a big deal.
It was, yeah.
It was everywhere.
Yeah. marking it now, back then, obviously it was a 9.
Yeah.
But when you look back at it now, the influence that it's had on pop culture and, you know, even was it Nike brought out the runners and all that. It has to be a 10. It has to be a 10 with the influence that it's had in pop culture since,
Maybe even an 11-1.
What about yourself,
I'm
Mark?
a huge fan of Back to the Future as well.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I loved it. I still wear body warmers.
Yeah.
There's no name on this next one. This is to you, Steve. Steve, you're on death row. What's your last meal? Sorry. What's your last meal?
His last meal is Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was going to say my cellmate, but...
or maybe Channing Tatum if they can't get Leonardo.
Last meal. Oh, my last dish. God.
I wonder if this email was inspired by me griefing you for liking healthy stuff.
Yeah, see, this is the thing.
Maybe this is a test because you're going to die right after you eat this.
I know. Immediately it came into my head was... you know that quinoa thing.
You can't be eating no quinoa on your last day.
No, listen. Let me finish. You're blowing everyone's ears out of it, by the way, when you're shouting. It was the quinoa and salmon thing came into my head first, but then you say it's going to be my last meal, so so it could be anything.
Yeah.
The question is, do you want to go to the chair? Potentially in gastric distress.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm not cleaning it up, so I'd say it's some sort of...
Right, you want to produce the most damage possible. This will teach them to murder me.
Well, then it would be a broccoli, celery and cauliflower shake. No, I think I'd go with the classic fillet steak. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Pepper sauce.
You'd skip the pepperoni pizza?
Yeah, for sure. Fillet steak or pepperoni? There's no contest. Yeah.
What about chili chicken wings?
Still no. Not even with suicide sauce.
Chili cheeseburger?
No, I still think it's steak, dude.
Oh.
Maybe. Actually, can you put a fillet steak into a Thai green curry?
Yeah.
There's something I've just invented. Yeah. Heard it here first, folks. Yeah.
And are you going to give up the chocolate fudge cake?
No, I
never
go for sweet. No, it just doesn't. I just don't like it.
Wait, if it's your last meal, you could maybe have the fudge cake as a
starter,
as a dessert. Yeah.
You'd be having fudge cake anyway.
Push out walking that mile.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks to everybody that wrote in. You can get your emails to podcast@isitabicycle.com.
So that's it from this week. So from a depleted bicycle team.
Focused, Steve.
Focused.
The cream always rises at the top.
From Mark, Mike and Steve, stay classy.